Hey, so today I'm thinking about the games I had this weekend, and I'm also working on my next tutorial, which is going to be close combat in V3. So I'm thinking back to the three games I had in the tournament I played in this weekend. Um, and in game one, I had three assaults. I had three assault units in my army list. I had an all infantry army list, which had three six-man Cossack veteran cavalry in them. So in that game, I attacked three times. I initiated all the close combats. So I had one time where six of my Cossacks just trounced an inexperienced officer. I had one time where five Cossacks killed an AT rifle, and I had six Cossacks that fought and won against a regular infantry unit with LMG. Now, most of these close combats, I lost guys either going in or in the close combat. But the units won and they were still there after the game. So I think potentially we could learn from this that you can still assault, you can still win assaults, but you need the right targets, right? Notice the targets here. I had an inexperienced officer, I had a regular AT rifle, and I had a regular infantry unit. None of these are very scary in close combat. And I won them, but I still took losses, right? So that is my first thought, that close combat can still be done. You need the right targets though. And it's really difficult to get in there. I think potentially because I was a way more experienced player than my opponent. I think potentially that was why I ended up getting these assaults and that it worked. But I'm not sure, right? If I go to game two, the results are a lot more mixed. So this is my results from game two. My game two was against a more experienced opponent, and we were playing sectors, and he had so many veterans. I initiated four assaults with my three assault units, and in the end, only one of my assault units was still alive and had only two guys left. So that is bad. That's a really bad result. Now, the difference here is look at the targets. One of the assault was five of my Cossacks against six of his veterans. Now, he didn't have tough fighter. He only had one SMG in his units, but they were still veterans. Cossack won that one, but I lost a couple of guys. Then I initiated a six Cossack assault against three veterans, which I lost. What can you do? I even had tough fighter. I re-rolled the dice, could not get it. So veterans are possibly not a good target, no matter how many of them there are. Possibly that is the common denominator here. Then I initiated a close combat of four Cossacks, the guys who had survived the first assault, against an inexperienced officer, which I won. No questions asked. And the final assault was four surviving Cossacks, the four Cossacks that had trounced the inexperienced officer, veteran Cossacks on horseback, assaulting a veteran artillery piece. Now, as I assaulted this at this point, because I knew I had won. It wasn't even close. I had won. We were playing sectors. It wasn't about kill points. If I killed that artillery piece, I could move into his sector with an extra unit. I didn't care about losing that one unit. It could like pad out my kill point scores a little, but it wasn't massively important. So it was just fun. He shot me on the way in, killed two of my dudes because he was on ambush, and then I killed two of his, and he killed two of mine, and then that wiped my unit, right? So I actually lost that combat to three artillerymen with four tough fighter Cossacks. That's how I remember it, at least. I might be wrong, So, but I lost the close combat. veterans are not a good target for close combat. I think that is what we can learn here. Even though I had a close combat unit, my veteran Cossacks, tough fighter, on horseback, I could get to where I needed to go. I had that escape move so that I didn't need to take too many casualties as I move up the table. I still lost half of my close combats in game 2, which is bad, really bad. Now, going into game 3, I initiated 5 assaults with my 3 assault units. And the first one was 5 of my veteran Cossacks versus 5 of his infantry. And he won that. I charged him, he was in terrain, and he did have defensive fire, which killed a couple of my dudes, and then he won the close combat, which was bad, right? That is not what you want to have happen. But sort of the rest of the assaults with my Cossacks worked out. I had 6 Cossacks against 6 of his infantrymen. By the way, his infantry all had double LMGs. They were regulars with double LMGs. So I was pretty happy. I moved my Cossacks up so I was inside of 6 so he couldn't do defensive fire, and then shot him down, killed him in close combat, right? If he had shot at me, I would have wrecked away. The third assault was 4 of my Cossacks against an inexperienced officer. Dead giveaway, that's a win. I also had 4 Cossacks against a dog mine, I think it was. Also another easy win. So you can easily pick up small dice. That's very easy to do with your assaulters. So I think we need to start thinking about at least cavalry assaulters as something that picks up small teams and clears out back lines. The final assault was another interesting one. I had the remains of a veteran unit, tough fighters, SMGs and stuff. And I needed to try and clear out, or if I did, I would win the game, right? I needed to try and clear out 5 of his regular dudes, which were sitting on an objective. If I killed those, I would definitely win the game. So I initiated the close combat. I felt like he didn't have any, I was inside of 6, he couldn't shoot me. Yeah, we would fight at the same time, but with 5 infantry, he might kill 2 of mine, but most likely he'll kill 1. I will, with 2 tough fighter veterans, kill, possibly 2 of his. I would maybe win that. Math says I could win that, and I massively lost it. I killed 1 of his dudes, and then he killed 2 of mine, so gone. So I think there's a couple of lessons overall. I think there's a couple of lessons from this. 1, close combats, we need to think about them in a new way in V3. I'm very, very not happy with that, which you'll see when I make my tutorial video. I'm not, ecstatic with this. I like close combat. Doesn't even need to be my freaking Gurkhas anymore, but I mean, I liked it. It felt exhilarating. And now it feels difficult, and it feels like the game is sort of bogged down in just firing away at point blank, right? Which I'm not happy about. But I like a lot of things about V3. I'm sorry about this slight negativity. But so we need to start thinking about close combats in a new way. We need to look seriously at what targets we have. Veterans, I think, are no-go targets because it's more or less 50-50 whether or not you win, even if you have dedicated assaulters against veterans. Small teams, that's a given. You can definitely assault small teams. Regular infantry, most of the time you can win those, but you need to not take too many casualties as you're going in. My first assault up here in game 3, I was assaulting through terrain. I was taking fire from defensive fire. Wasn't good. And that lost me that one. So I think that is the main lessons that I have right now for you. I will be coming out with a tutorial about all of this and what I think we can learn from assaults in V3 now that I have 5 tournaments under my belt. I think I'm sort of at a place where I can start speaking on this topic. the short and long of it is close combat is playing on hard mode. Don't do it if you don't know what you're doing, basically. Right. See you next time. Cheers.